افزایش دمای زمین داره به مرز جدیدی میرسه.
Battling flames over 200 feet high.
And that the record high temperatures across
تقریباً هر روز تو اخبار راجع به حوادث مخرب طبیعی میشنویم. امسال رکورد شدیدترین باران‌های سیلاسا رو شکستیم. و همچنین گرمترین تابستان سال رو تجربه کردیم.
We are the ones most at risk, and if we do not fix climate change, it will fix us.
تعداد جانباختگان تغییرات آب و هوایی تنها طی 2 سال گذشته 3 برابر مرگ و میر ناشی از کرونا بوده.
These crises will get much worse.
We need to deal with climate change now.
و حالا کاهش گازهای گلخانه‌ای برای بقای ما به موضوعی حیاتی تر از قبل تبدیل شده. آیا امروز جامعه جهانی میتونه گامی مؤثر در راستای بهبود این وضعیت وخیم برداره؟
سوال خیلی مهمیه و به این راحتی نمیشه به این قضیه جواب داد.
زنگ خطر تغییرات آب و هوایی بار دیگر به صدا درآمد. و من شوکا بیداریان، عضوی از خانواده جهانی کلایمت ریالیتی و برنده جایزه حلقه سبز، با دوربین من و تو شما را به گلاسکو بردم. جایی که مهمترین نشست سازمان ملل برای حل مشکلات آب و هوایی برگزار شد. سیاستمداران و دانشمندان زیادی برای شرکت در کنفرانس سازمان ملل به گلاسکو اومده بودند. به عنوان فعال و خبرنگار محیط زیست، دغدغه‌ها و سوالات زیادی در مورد وضعیت بحرانی تغییرات آب و هوایی داشتم. و این اجلاس فرصتی شد برای من تا بتونم باهاشون گفتگویی داشته باشم. کاپ 26 با حضور نزدیک به 3000 نفر در بزرگترین مرکز نمایشگاهی گلاسکو برگزار شد. شروع این گفتگوهای بین المللی به سال 1995 برمیگرده. مذاکراتی که هر ساله تقریباً همه کشورها با حضورشون در اون تلاش میکنن تا به توافقی در جهت کاهش گازهای گلخانه‌ای دست پیدا کنن. کاپ 21 یا معاهده پاریس که 21مین دوره این نشست‌ها محسوب می‌شد، در سال 2015 برگزار شد که طبق اون کشورها توافق کردند تا افزایش دمای زمین رو زیر 2 درجه نگه دارن. هدفی که امروز برای حفظ حیات باید به 1.5 درجه سانتیگراد تبدیل بشه. اما کاپ 26 از اهمیت بالایی برخورداره، چون این نشست اولین جلسه بازبینی توافقنامه پاریسه.
I just would like to know what you think about the negotiations this year. Are you hopeful? Are you optimistic?
Of course I'm hopeful. I'm always optimistic, but we still have some tough issues to confront, and we're working hard.
What is the significance of the negotiations this year? Would you say this COP is different?
The one thing is very clear to me is that there is a spirit of consensus, there is a spirit of cooperation. We need to see that spirit taken forward over the next few days, and I would like us to get to a point that we end with a ambitious outcome, which is what we've wanted all along, but it's up to all of us.
صحبتی داشتم با الگور، معاون سابق ریاست جمهوری آمریکا، چهره‌ای مؤثر در این مجموعه کنفرانس ها.
Well, I think that we're making progress in this conference in Glasgow, but I have been to most of the 26 conferences since the original Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro back in summer of 1992. And I've learned over those years not to expect a complete solution in one conference, but I've also felt a growing sense of impatience that we are not making as much progress as we should, because the crisis is still getting worse faster than we are deploying solutions. There is a needed sense of urgency for many reasons. Well, the scientists who warned us about the climate crisis decades ago turned out to be completely accurate in their predictions of the kind of damage we would begin experiencing. We are experiencing it now. The climate-related extreme events are becoming more devastating and more frequent. And since they were right in what they warned us about so long ago, we should pay more attention to what they're warning us about now when they tell us that if we continue to add more global warming pollution to the atmosphere, these crises will get much, much worse.
فقط در سال 2020 980 مورد حوادث طبیعی حاصل از گرمایش زمین گزارش شده که مجموع خسارت مالی مربوط به اون حدود 210 میلیارد دلار بوده. با پروفسور مارک مزلین، استاد دانشگاه UCL، گفتگویی درباره گرمایش زمین و پیدایش اون داشتم.
The science of climate change is very straightforward. It's really simple physics. The sun's energy, which is mainly light, hits the Earth. It passes straight through the atmosphere, as if the atmosphere isn't there. About a third of it reflects straight back into space, off of white ice sheets or white clouds, but about 2/3 of it is absorbed by the Earth. The Earth is heating up, but that heat is then passed into the atmosphere. And the greenhouse gases that are there are really good because what they do is they capture some of that heat just for a little while and then radiate it back into the atmosphere and it's lost into space. Climate change is about heating up the planet. We have the oceans and we have the atmosphere. And all climate is moving heat from the tropics where the sun is really intense and overhead, heats up the land and the air, and that heat moves to the poles. And that's all that climate is, that movement of heat, trying to rebalance it on the planet. But what we're doing is by having the greenhouse gases, we're putting more heat into the system. Scientists track where greenhouse gases are coming from around the world. We see that about 85% of those come from fossil fuels, and that is burning them to make energy, it's burning them to move transport around, whether it happens to be cars, trains, or planes or ships. The other 15% comes from land use. So deforestation causes a major chunk, but also agriculture. One of the biggest concerns that people have about climate change is, of course, sea level rise. Over the last 100 years, we've seen sea level rise by about 24 centimeters. At first, most of this sea level rise was thermal expansion. Oceans get warmer, they expand. Now, more and more of the contribution to sea level is because of the melting of glaciers on land, but also Greenland and the Western and Arctic ice sheet. And between them, they have about 13 meters of sea level rise. And so that's why we're getting more extreme weather events.
انقلاب صنعتی، نقطه آغاز گرم شدن کره زمین. گرمای اضافه‌ای که در این سالها بیشتر و بیشتر شده و امروز ظرفیت انرژی اون معادل 600,000 بمب اتمی هیروشیما در هر 24 ساعته. در حال حاضر با افزایش فقط 1.2 درجه نسبت به قبل از انقلاب صنعتی شاهد تشدید حوادث طبیعی هستیم و حالا افزایش 1.5 درجه‌ای دما میتونه شرایط زندگی رو روی کره زمین تقریباً غیر ممکن کنه.